Alrighty guys, we are back, and today we got a bunch of steel. Alright, so as I said in the video for this new toy, if that video is out before that video, don't know. One of these will be out, but I had to take a break for a bit. I had a lot of work to do and I needed to make some money to fund some stuff, which is the new funding. And what's happening today? The new truck tray. So, as the title mentions, this thing is going to be four-wheel drive converted. We have NPS axles, it's going to be turboed, bunch of things, big coilovers, rock crawler, everything. So this is the start of it, which is making the tray, which is going to be kind of comp spec in a way and just not your average truck tray, I guess. Building a toolbox into a bit of everything, but first, got to start cutting it. So it's also going to be a lot smaller than this. This thing is huge. It's going to be 2 meters wide, 2 meters long. It's going to have a canopy box thing, about half of it that's going to be like 800 high, so it won't be the full height, so I can still get a rooftop tent and not be too high, since I can take load. I can take a lot of things on this, and I can still tuck 40 somethings once I put big coilovers on and 4-wheel drive conversion. So I don't want to go too tall and rolly and all that stuff. We'll have a step down at the back, angled bits for like hooks and toe stuff and everything. But first, I'm going to get the main frame and everything cut. I'm not going to bore you with that because you've seen it before with me if you've watched any of my other stuff. And also it's just cutting. So get everything cut and I'll get back to you. Alright, so climb on my yoke still. The whole bulk of the frame is done. 9 cross frames at 1900. They'll do things I'll show you, and then the 2 at 32 for the long. Now I did confirm I can just weld over this primer, so don't need to prep it. Just got to start marking these out and everything, so I'll show you what I'm doing, because it is slightly different since the canopy is going to be built into the tray and different fancy stuff and whatnot. But yeah, alright, so took all my boxes off and just threw my tools everywhere, but that's right. Show you what I'm going to do for marking it. So it's going to be every 400. And 32 on the end. But we got a difference. So we got 4, 8, 12, 16. So this is oops, sorry. That's the midway. So get one of these. These are all going to be mounted that way, because that's how the canopy is going to sit, and then from there back these are going to be mounted lower so that the sheeting can sit in, and I can put an angle on here and put those little hooks for straps and whatnot. So yeah, mark all these on this side, that side, lay them out, start welding. Alright, so we got it all laid out, ready to tack together and weld. So this is what I mean. So this will be where the toolbox sits. I will have to add another one into here, which will be at this level so the sheet can catch this and toolbox can catch that. And then these are step down so the sheet can go in. It can be an angle piece like that. But yeah, it's relatively smaller, which is very nice. It follows the same width as the cab, and then just a bit smaller, and basically getting it ready for big rock steps with 37s to 42s and all that goodness. Now that I've tacked in perfectly square frame, I can just tackle these into my marks and should be dead square and go through and weld it all. Alright, that's one side tucked. Go through and do the other side. I'll do that off camera and I'll weld it all up off camera, flip it over, weld it again, then we'll see what's next. Alright, we are 100% tacked together, looking good. Now, the fun part of going around and welding absolutely everything and then flipping it. Hopefully someone's back by the time. Flip it, weld the underside, and then I may have to start getting off this tray to start looking at starting to mount this tray and doing headboards and stuff. Alrighty, beautiful. Didn't take too long and not too bad. All 100% welded together all the way around. So that's good. It's currently upside down. But I now gotta get this off, get this off, get this on, figure out where it's gonna go, and start figuring out headboards and everything. And then I won't be shading it for a little bit, but I may end up just running it without shades for a little bit because it's too much of an effort to get on off. But yeah, I gotta figure out how to swap these around now somehow. No one's home still, so gotta figure it out or wait. So I've run into a slight hiccup, but that's alright. So these rails part of the tray, these are steel. So I was actually just gonna take off the alloy part, put the tray on top of these and just weld it so you can unbolt and bolt. But turns out, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but along here, like these, every one of them is screwed or bolted. There's a shit ton of bolts. So that ain't happening. So I'm just unbolting the rails, and to get my height, I'm gonna make 6 of these, each 6 mounting point. This will be welded to the tray. This will essentially sit on the chassis rail. Bolt will go through here, 2 bolts, or through the middle essentially there. It'll be, what, 6 of them, 1 in each bolt spot, so gonna make them up and then get this tray unbolted. But I now gotta get this off. My mate's home. I'm gonna unbolt it, take off the tail lights, take off the wheel welds, figure out how to get it off. Alright, so after a fair bit while longer, changing my mind multiple times, this is where we're at for now. So I use these, just, I need to, yep, they're there now. But they're sitting on the bed. They're all welded onto them. They're bolted to there. They're there. I will add another one in the middle eventually, but that's how it's going to mount. Tray's going to go on that, weld to them. But we are finally mounted. So we are on and looking more and more like a tray. That is exactly where it's going to be. I just got to kind of weld it to my runners properly, do what I need to do, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's so far a tray. I do need to add more of the underneath things, but since I'm not going to have a thing on it, hopefully not get defected if it is defectable, I can just add them in as I go. But get that all tacked on. I'm literally about to run out of gas, so I'm just going to tack that, hopefully get a lift, go get some gas, get this fully welded on, get some lights mounted on for temporary, and then seeing with time maybe start doing headboards. Alright, so I have got it all welded on. This is what we've done this arvo. We've got tray on, all welded, even with the loose bolts. And I can essentially lift the whole, pardon me, whole rear. But all in all, looking good. Got a tray. I just now got to mount my lights, license plate and everything on so I can get to work. But that is it for today. Start on the headboard tomorrow, which will probably be same episode, but yeah, see you in the same video but tomorrow. Alright, so it's the next day, same video. But she went well. I got all my tools off again, but got me to work, got me back, picked up doors. So yeah, not bad, not bad. But today, and to continue, and I guess to say finish the video, these with me are stupid plates now, like I've done here. I'm going to add them in the middle so that the middle actually has a bit more to hold, I guess. As well as add another 75 by 50 onto the rear to cap the rear and push it out just past this bit so that I can bend my tube and do the whole tubed rear and everything, and that all this angle, like I was saying, can follow all the way around and onto the back of the canopy. And then we'll start the headboard, and that'll be it for this episode. Basically finish the last bits of the frame and the headboard. So let's start and get into it. Right, so we got these welded on. These are really only just for downward pressure. I may eventually add, that one's welded, the other side as well. May eventually add brackets like how they are, but that's really just for when the canopy's got downward pressure, because that's what most of the load is. Now we're gonna add the rear piece. So I gotta quickly grind back these welds, both sides, and then just chuck a 2 meter 75 by 50 on there. Should have enough still to do the headboard and some of the canopy stuff, fingers crossed. But yeah, let's get this done. Sweet. Now that they're both grinded back, I'm just going to clean up some of this edge just so it's a bit nicer to weld. Alright, I've got the rear on. I will need to cap the rear sides eventually. That's all on, welded on. Now I can start figuring out the headboard. So essentially I'm going to try and follow the cabba's march, which is basically straight, little up, little curve, and yeah, bit of angles and whatnot. Alright, we're on the headboard. So I've had to do a fair bit of thinking, and my plan is, since I'm doing the whole canopy box, it's going to be 800 high. I'm just going to do square at height 800, then kick on the angle, if you can see that slightly, probably another angle, and square with the top. So firstly, I got to get 2 at the 800, get them cut, and start figuring out all me angles and all that stuff. So I'll get back to you once I cut some 800s and weld and whatnot. Alright, so I've got both the 800s there. They're perfectly square and where they need to be. So as you can see from here, I'll curve from there and follow that. And then probably follow this bit as well, dead across. So I'll get both these tacked on, welded on the square, and then start figuring out all the angles. So, starting to get dark, so I'm going to skip most of this, but I gotta get 50 by 50 across on the back edge to sort of link them together and sort of start building the canopy. I'm going to just start mocking up angles, top, bottom. Once I get all them tacked on and together, I will show you where I'm at. If it's not too dark, with all the lights I'm going to use. But now I've got to get this done tonight. Alright, we're on the next day again. Just finished recording the video on this, now that I got parts and everything. Bit of fun. I almost tore up the brand new belt apparently again. So obviously it's got a belt issue, which I got to figure out. But didn't get much more done last night because there was a fair few people over and I was thinking for too long. But I got all the main, not the main bit, this bit all welded. The bit for the canopy, which is going to be the height of the canopy. From here, we're going to start going on the angle, both sides. This won't go that high. This is then going to have horizontal, which is just going to be above this, and it will have another angle to kind of follow angle. Oops, shit, sorry. Angle, angle, angle. But first, I'm going to get 2 of these cut and start sort of clamping things and figuring out what other angles and where I need to put things. Right, so, got these 2 all tucked on, just very temporarily and very high, because now I can figure out and clamp this piece, which is a bit longer than it needs to be, onto here. Put it there for now. Show an example. Hope my tack's hold and everything doesn't die. So I can put that essentially like that, but clamp to the right height. Get another 2 short ones and just kind of put them there. Mark my angles, cut everything, and then yeah. So I'll get back to you once I've got this at the right height. Alright, so we've got that where it needs to be. It is 10 mil, sorry, climb up again. Whoop, whoop. So it's roughly 10 mil higher, the highest point of the cab. So if I have materials, they go straight over. So now, basically going to these corners, I'm just going to get this where I need it to be, scribe that in, and then cut both of them, cut them down, weld that all together. Then yes, I'll have a ladder rack. I shall see you once things are ladder racked. Or not ladder racked, headboard. Alright, so I don't know if this is going to make sense to you at all. But that is basically the shape. I'm now going to cut these tack welds off so I can weld all of this. I can cut this nicely but leave a plate so I can bend it over and weld it so it's all capped off all the way around. But yep, shining like that so far. Alright, so got it off. Now I'll fully weld everything. I'll figure out how I'm going to do this. I'm either just going to cut it on the dead angle like that and put a plate, or figure out how to cut it and like bend down the triangle. I don't know, I'll figure out which one to do, but just weld it all up and finish the headboard. once I'm done. I'm in me marvelous race against darkness and time again, but got them all welded up, both sides. So this line here, if you can see it, is the line that follows. So I'm gonna cut, it's hot, but I'm gonna cut up along this edge. Yeah, along this edge, somewhere here, off here, this bit here is gonna bend around. I'm gonna weld the same, cap it off, yada yada. Yep, that's it. Yep, see you in a sec again. All right, so just like that, cut the triangles out of it. So it's gonna be hard to record in at the same time. Essentially, 1 second, just gonna put you down. Essentially, just like that, I'm gonna pull it in a bit more, weld it all the way around, and then that's just a nice way of capping it off. Gonna do that all 4 corners, weld it back up. Alright, so it's just tacked on at the moment, but I'm dramatically losing daylight that I kind of just got to show you to end the video. And I'm going to weld it in the dark with some lights, but here's a headboard. So this will be the canopy level, then it curves up and does this thing. Definitely not the prettiest at the moment. I just got to grind that all back, and then yeah. So I'm gonna weld the headboard on now, and then, well, grinding will be in a future, well, probably not episode, that'll just be made in the future, but in the next episode you'll see me making the rear ladder rack, start making the frame for the, whatever that's called, the canopy, probably adding some more stuff, like bars for shading, and then the tray's pretty much getting there. But this is the tray. I'll get a proper shot in the morning or tomorrow arvo, but this is it for part 1. It's starting to rain and getting dark, so I'm going to weld this all together, give everything a spray that I've welded before, just while it sits for a bit so it doesn't rust. And yeah, thank you for watching once again.